Garland at 947. Atoka, you can anticipate this to be in your area at 947. Brighton at 9:52, Covington at 9:57, Arlington at 10 o'clock, and then Galloway at 10:03. So you can anticipate, as far as if I call that your general area, some 60-mile-per-hour winds as well as some nickel-sized hail that could be happening within this storm here. One thing I do want you to kind of to keep in mind is that this is a pretty pronounced shelf cloud that we had coming here across the Mid-South. If we could, Darian, turn around and put up the camera, or if you could turn the camera around so it faces towards the downtown area, and then pop that up when you get a second, because I have a feeling it's going to be a pretty gnarly view as to what we are seeing approaching the Midtown Memphis area. Right now, we are still high and dry here into Midtown Memphis, and even downtown Memphis, it is knocking on your door right now. Notice it's a pretty sharp contrast. As soon as you cross over that M Bridge and really the intersection of 55 and 40, that's where the rain really starts to come down at a pretty good clip. And don't forget, when it does come to rain rates, it doesn't make a difference how hard it's raining or how much lightning there is. That does not factor into a severe thunderstorm warning. It's all about having 58-plus-mile-per-hour winds or hail that is the size of a quarter or greater. And specifically for this severe warned storm that does include the northern portion of Shelby County, this is more for the winds than it is for the hail here across the Mid-South. Tipton County, you're also within this too. Let me dive into it. A couple of areas that we are keeping a closer eye on right now. Over towards Cuba, Little John, Oak Lawn, North Haven, Woodstock, really just to the west of Highway 51, you are starting to see this inch closer and closer to you, but it's not necessarily raining on top of you, but it is getting pretty dang close to you right now. Good idea to get into the interior of your house. Even though this isn't a tornado warned storm, honestly, you should turn around and treat a severe thunderstorm warning with the same idea as a tornado warning, and that you should get in the interior of your house. Stay away from windows. Put as many walls between yourself and the outside world, so this way if you do get any sort of flying debris around, even if it is just a severe, quote-unquote, just a severe thunderstorm, you can at least give yourself a little bit of protection here. As far as the wide view of things here, if you're over into McNairy County, if you're in Alcorn, Benton, Tippah, Hardeman, over in Marshall, or even into Lafayette counties, you're high and dry right now. There's not really a whole heck of a lot going on. This is just specifically into Tipton County, as well as Shelby County, the eastern portion of Crittenden County, and the southeast corner of Mississippi County right now. The other line of showers and storms, I'm going to put this on a 30-minute loop, is off to the west right now, and it's actually getting closer to St. Francis Cross and into Poinsett counties. You can really kind of make out the two lines there. The one that's pretty much paralleling the Mississippi River, let me turn around and circle that for you, and I'll pause this too, so this way it's a little bit easier to draw a circle on there. You have this first little cluster of showers and storms that's around right now that is pretty much right along the Mississippi River. Let me get this pencil on here. Come on, there we go. Nope, it's still not going to do it. Dadgummit. Here we go. Hopefully that's going to work now. It's still going to be a pain in the neck. There we go. All right, so we have this first cluster of showers and storms that's really moving itself right along the Mississippi River right now. That's what the severe thunderstorm warning is for. And then further up to the west, you have the secondary line that's just to the east of Little Rock, and this is also moving itself into the easterly direction as well. So these two little clusters of showers and storms are what we're likely going to be contending with here around the Mid-South, really through about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you do have any sort of outdoor plans, hopefully you're able to kind of get them in here before the storms really started to fire up here within about the past hour or so. But the severe thunderstorm warning that is in place right now, it is warned for the potential 60-mile-per-hour winds, and that's specifically why it is warned. There could also be some nickel-sized hail embedded within here. So the thing that I'm clicking on right now, you see these arrows that are across your screen. Let me clear some of this stuff off of here. These arrows that are on your screen right now, they are what are known as skits. They kind of give us information and let us know what's embedded within this storm. So this is indicating that there could be some small hail around, but it is moving to the east at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. That 33-mile-per-hour number is the one that I'm looking at here, where we are seeing that forward motion. And we did just get a new one that popped up here, and it looks to be moving through Memphis. So that's what I'll be looking at first here, just because it's newer. This says this is moving to the east-northeast at 38 miles per hour. The top of the storm here is at about 31,000 feet, so it's a tall storm, but it's nothing outrageous. I will say the thing that's kind of capturing my attention more than anything here is that BTI number, which is a 4.0, and that's a pretty significant number here, and that's kind of gets into the, okay, it's starting to gain our attention sort of range here. And don't forget the BTI, that is what is known as the Barron Tornado Index, and pretty much it is a scale of 0 to 10, and once that number starts to climb above a 5, it starts becoming, okay, this is starting to become a bit more legitimate. And once it climbs above a 7 here, that's pretty much telling us, hey, we very likely have a tornado on the ground. So while a 4 obviously isn't a 5 or a 7, it's still an elevated number. Down to the south right now into really kind of the Walls community, Norfolk, into South Haven, you have another storm that's knocking on your door that has a BTI, also a 4.0. This looks to have some hail embedded within it. When you see the severe hail number pop up here, that is pretty much saying an inch in diameter or greater, quarter-size hail or greater hail that could be occurring here. So not really worried about the hail threat, but this is going to have some pretty potent winds embedded within it here across the Mid-South. If we could turn around and grab the Midtown camera, that's now looking towards the downtown region here across the Mid-South here into Memphis. So this way we could kind of get an idea what it looks like here, and I appreciate you guys in the back for flipping that back over here. This is looking at a shelf cloud that doesn't look quite as organized as the one we just had here a few minutes ago that was into downtown Memphis, looking over the Mississippi River and the M Bridge. But we are going to see some pretty strong winds move through the Memphis region here rather shortly, and there will be some heavier rain embedded, and it's going to go from being really no rain whatsoever to some pretty heavy rain within the span of a few minutes. Worthwhile to note, as far as specifically downtown and midtown Memphis are concerned, you are not under that severe thunderstorm warning. This is really more to the north of you, but the whole entire line, it still is pretty potent here with some heavier rain around. If we turn around and flip this back over to the first alert Doppler radar here across Shelby County, some heavy rain. It's really knocking on the door right now of Shelby County itself. Let's see, the National Weather Service noting that the strongest winds right now are along the Tipton and Shelby County line with some 60-mile-per-hour gusts around. The airport in West Memphis did have some 30-mile-per-hour gusts, and those are going to be moving into the downtown region rather shortly. And since there is a lot of buildings obviously within downtown Memphis, and you kind of get a little bit of funneling to happen there, there likely will be even stronger winds than that. And that's knocking on the door of downtown Memphis pretty much right now. I know that the Doppler radar, it's an indication of rain as far as the heaviness of it. But this can also give us a good idea where some of those stronger winds will be, especially once you start seeing some of these lines bow on out here. When I'm talking about bowing out, notice how that this has a little bit of curvature to it. It's not necessarily a straight line. The lines that have the curvature to it, that usually is an indication of where some of those stronger winds will be at kind of the peak of the curves here. So into downtown Memphis, this is going to be a pretty significant sub-severe storm that will be rolling through there within the matter of the next couple of minutes. We go a little bit further to the north here. Don't want to forget about those of you in Millington and Munford, as well as Randolph, Brighton, throughout Tipton County. You are under a severe thunderstorm warning. While it isn't necessarily approaching Highway 51 quite yet, it is inching closer and closer to you guys right now into the Millington area. But you still have a couple of minutes. If you have that car outside, maybe not a bad idea to bring it in. Even though this isn't a warned storm for hail, there still could be some smaller hail embedded within here. But you got to do that right now. I wouldn't really wait more than I wouldn't really wait to kind of see this kind of move through the region. This is moving to the northeast and east here at about 40 miles per hour. And I know that's at 39 miles per hour, but quite frankly, that's close enough. Millington, 9:43 is when you can expect this to move into your area. The time right now is 9:34, so you have about 9 minutes before this is going to be embarking on you. Munford, 9:47, Atoka, 9:50, Brighton at 9:56, Arlington, 10:05, Galloway at 10:09, Braden at 10:12, Mason at 10:14, Charleston at 10:15, and Stanton at 10:24. That's when the leading edge of this is going to move into your area. And when that happens, you can expect some 60-mile-per-hour winds, some small hail to be embedded, a lot of lightning, and a lot of heavy rain too. And it's going to kind of approach you and then move through your area pretty quickly here, because notice as far as just really the central or the north central portion of Shelby County, the south central portion of Tipton County goes, there's not much green here, and then it goes from being nothing to those reds and purples pretty quickly, and that's an indication of some pretty heavy rain that will be around. If I turn around and put the lightning on too, you do see that there's quite a bit of lightning around here, and it looks like further to the south, that's where there's the largest quantity of lightning here, and that's usually a good indication that there could be some hail embedded. We take a step back here and kind of look at the wide view of things across the Mid-South. Right now, it's quiet into Lafayette County, really all throughout northern Mississippi with the exception of DeSoto County, and even into DeSoto County, we do not have a severe thunderstorm warning in place. This is right now into northern Shelby County, the majority of Tipton County, the northeast corner of Crittenden County, and then the southeast corner of Mississippi County, where we do have that severe thunderstorm warning right now. We turn around, let me turn around and pop up one of these skit numbers here, and that's that line that you do see, or the arrow that is across your screen right now. That number is bumped up to a 4.1 here. That is what I'm looking at here, is that on the right-hand side of your screen, that blue box, that bottom thing that says BTI 4.1, that is what is known as the Barron Tornado Index. That is on a scale of 0 to 10. in which 0, not worried about a tornado whatsoever. 10 means it's not a good situation as far as a tornado goes. I will say, really over the past couple of months, I've been trying to watch a lot of our severe weather coverage, whether it be meteorologist Patrick Ellis, chief meteorologist Ron Childers, and even going back just a few years ago when we had those storms that moved through on March 31st of 2023, prior to my time being here, but when chief meteorologist Ron Childers and meteorologist Spencer Denton, the two of them, when they were tag teaming some weather coverage and severe weather coverage, that BTI number, it doesn't get up to a 10 often, but when it does, that's really that's an situation to kind of keep a G-rated here, quite frankly, across the area. Once that number gets to a 10, that's an situation. But really, a 5 starts to gain our attention, and a 7 likely means a tornado is on the ground here. So the fact that that's a 4.1, we still feel pretty good that there's not a tornado on the ground, but that's certainly starting to gain our attention, especially since that number, it had been at about a 3.8, then it bumped to a 4, and now it's at a 4.1. So it's a number that is inclining, fortunately not at a rapid rate, but it is still going up. A little bit further to the south right now into southeastern Crittenden County, another BTI number that is at a 4.1 right now. So these numbers they're moderate. They're not exceptionally high, but they are at a moderate level right now. National Weather Service noting that they are hopping on a conference right now with the Storm Prediction Center, which is based out of Norman, Oklahoma, in regards to whether it be a tornado watch or a severe thunderstorm watch that they could be issuing here within the next few minutes. And quite frankly, I think we're going to stick with this here for a little bit here as far as the coverage goes at Action News 5 as far as this severe thunderstorm warning that is in place. Quite frankly, meteorologist Patrick Ellis, he just sent me a text message, and I always think it's a good idea to kind of communicate back and forth with the fellow meteorologists that we have here at Action News 5, whether it be Chief Meteorologist Ron Childers, Meteorologist Patrick Ellis, Sergey Galindo, Maggie McCauley, Sarah Tipton, that do check on in here and see what we have going on with the weather across the Mid-South. Patrick noted to me that the medical district here in Memphis did see a 35-mile-per-hour wind gust. So, Patrick, if you're tuning in watching this, I appreciate that, buddy, for giving me that report so we know what we got going on here into the medical district. Like I said, though, into Memphis itself, we don't have a severe thunderstorm warning, but the north side of Shelby County, that is where we have the severe thunderstorm warning right now. And that BTI number, it crept back up again. Instead of it being at a 4, it went to a 4.1, and now it's at a 4.2. So yet again, this isn't an alarm the bell sort of situation with the BTI number, climbing up to a 5, a 6, or a 7 or anything like that. But the number is slowly inclining here, which, that's not necessarily a good thing. Let me see what we have going on here for that rotation detector. So this is looking at just broad rotation here. When you see this green line that's in the middle of your screen here, that's usually, once that line's kind of straight, that's just an indication that there's some stronger winds out there. Not ones that necessarily have any sort of tornadic activity, but at least it's just some stronger winds that are around. Turn around and look at our debris detector here. This isn't really picking up anything. I will say, once you start seeing this line that's kind of in the middle of your screen here that I just had circled, this is usually an indication that there could be some hail embedded within here. Once you start seeing these lines spike out here, that's usually where there could be some small hail embedded here, but it doesn't look like we have anything too crazy going on with the hail here across the Mid-South. As far as what we have going on with the storm threats here, there are still some stronger winds right now into northern Shelby County and into the southern portion of Tipton County as well. Copy. Northeastern portions of Crittenden County, southeastern portions of Mississippi County. That is where there is also some heavier rain embedded right now. Sorry for the delay right there. I had one of our behind-the-scenes folks. We were supposed to have an upgrade here as far as some internet stuff and some different things going on here at Action News 5. He was telling me that they were canceling it because, well, obviously we have some severe weather here across the Mid-South. So let's do a little bit of a wide view of things here and kind of reset. I'm meteorologist Eric Brill. Right now the time is 9:40. It is Saturday, the 7th of June. Hopefully you're having a great start to your day. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning that is in place for portions of Crittenden as well as Mississippi counties over in northeast Arkansas, but I think you'll be knocked out of this or eliminated or canceled out of this here rather shortly. Northern portions of Shelby County, the southern and the majority of Tipton County right now, you are under a severe thunderstorm warning for the potential of 60-mile-per-hour winds as well as nickel-sized hail. And this is the first sort of batch of storms that is moving through the Mid-South mid-south right now. So if we turn around and look at this here, we have this first line that's moving through. It's just to the east of the Mississippi River, and then another line that's a little bit further to the west right now, starting to get closer to St. Francis, Lee, Cross, and Poinsett counties. That's the secondary line that will be moving itself through the mid-south really over about the next couple of hours or so. National Weather Service here, based out of Memphis, they are noting that they're about to jump on a conference call with the Storm Prediction Center, who issue these different warnings and watches and things of that nature here. And so does the National Weather Service, but they are talking about putting out some sort of watch over the next little bit here. So I'll keep you up to date with that as I get information about that here at Action News 5. But, you know, if you are over into Benton, Tippah County, Alcorn, McNary, Hardeman, Fayette, Marshall, Lafayette, into Panola, Tate County, you aren't necessarily seeing too much in the way of activity right now, but this first batch of showers and thunderstorms that's moving through Shelby County, DeSoto County, Tipton County, even the southern portion of Lauderdale County, this is headed in your direction, and you can anticipate seeing some 40+ mile per hour wind gusts, some heavier rain, some lightning. You might be able to hear that over my microphone right now, and then some pea-sized hail that could be embedded within this. Meteorologist Patrick Ellis sent me a report that there were 35 mile per hour winds into the medical district here in Memphis. And if we put a track on this here, this is still cruising to the east here at about 40 miles per hour. I'm going to put a track on this so this way you get a good idea of some of those communities that will be affected by this over the next hour or so. We're looking at Bartlett at about 9:44, and right now I'm looking towards the upper left-hand portion of your screen. The towns that are there and the times that are next to them are when the leading edge of this will be moving through your area. And when I'm talking about the leading edge, it's not like this is going to be done at 9:44 in Bartlett or done at 9:45 in Munford. This is when you're going to start to see some heavier rain, some stronger winds, some small hail. There's a good chance you're probably already either seeing lightning or hearing thunder out there in the distance, but pretty much when this is going to move on top of you. Atoka at 9:47, Hernando at 9:50, Brighton at 9:54, Lakeland at 9:54, Germantown also at 9:54, Arlington and Olive Branch at 9:57, and then Galloway as we start to move further to the east here at about 10 o'clock in the morning. Just because your town is on there doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to see a severe warned storm, but you're likely going to see some heavier rain, some lightning, some strong winds, and even some small hail that will be embedded within this. Specifically, this is warned for the potential of 60 mile per hour winds, and there could be some nickel-sized hail embedded within this here, but you know, for the time being at least, this warning is in place until 10:15. So right now it is 9:43. We still have about a half hour to go before that this is going to be in place here. National Weather Service noting that they, and you can see it on your screen here, they have canceled both Crittenden and Mississippi counties out of this, and also a small sliver of Shelby County, as well as a small sliver of Tipton County out of the warning right now. But this does have Millington within it, Munford, Covington, Mason, as well as Arlington. And some of these areas were hit pretty hard by a few rounds of severe thunderstorms that came through here really over about the past month or so. Some of them did have some damage over into Arlington, portions of Millington as well, and obviously really throughout the spring of 2025, if you want to include now still as part of the spring or early summer, whichever way you may want to take that. We have seen some pretty robust showers and thunderstorms really throughout the Mid-South here. I know Chief Meteorologist Ron Childers, he has noted that this has been certainly one of, if not the most active springs that he has seen here across the Mid-South, as far as just round after round after round of showers and storms here across the region. Right now here at Action News 5, I'm going to take a walk over and see what we have for a rain rate here, because it certainly is raining pretty hard. But before I do that, let me turn around and put a track on this so this way you can kind of get an idea where this is going to be here, say over about the next hour or so. And these are still racing off to the east-northeast at about 40-ish miles per hour, give or take within that here. So some of those towns that are on the left-hand side of your screen and the times that are next to them, that is when you can expect this to move through your area. So Gilt Edge at about 9:46, Munford and Bartlett at 9:47, Burleson and Atoka at 9:50, Garland at 9:53, and well, you can see a couple of those communities there on the left-hand side that do that will be seeing this move through. So the rain rate that we have here at Action News 5, it's raining at about 3.5 inches per hour, and we've already seen about a 1/4 inch worth of rain. If this storm sat on top of us here for the span of about 15 minutes, we'd be able to pick up about 3/4 to even 5/6 of an inch of rain here pretty quickly, and that's when you can get your localized flooding to happen here pretty easily. So even if you don't necessarily see those strong winds, even if you don't necessarily see the big time hail, the flooding threat is still going to be evident here within these showers and storms as they do move off to the northeast. Lakeland, 10 o'clock is when you can expect this to move through your area. Covington at 10:02, and then Arlington at about about 10:04. That is when this is expected to move through your area. Just had a pretty loud lightning strike here at Action News 5. I don't think it specifically hit the station, but it was pretty dang close to here. If we turn around, if we could take max 1 right now, so this way we could turn around and see futurecast here. I want to give everybody a good idea and a first alert what you can anticipate as we start to move deeper into the morning hours and eventually into the afternoon, because I don't anticipate this being an all-day event, but it's still a good idea to kind of give you the steps through this here. So the first round of showers and storms that we have here across the Mid-South, it really is kind of more into western Tennessee that you see popping up on your screen here. But then notice we kind of get that secondary cluster of showers and storms that will be moving on through here and pretty much paralleling the Mississippi River by about 11:30 in the morning. That will continue to race off to the east here. And futurecast, it just kind of oscillated here as far as those colors. It makes it a little bit brighter, it makes it a little bit lighter or darker, I guess. And that's usually an indication of this kind of trying to weaken itself just a touch here. But by the time we roll towards 2, 3 o'clock this afternoon, we're going to see this on out of here, and really we should be seeing some simmering down weather conditions across the Mid-South. So really we got to get about the next 5 to 6 hours out of here, and then we should be seeing some better weather conditions in place. National Weather Service noting that they are kind of keeping an eye on some of those showers and storms that are back to the west now, as far as over into Arkansas and really just to the west of the immediate Mid-South communities here. Let me take the wider view of things here. So the one area cluster of showers and storms that we're keeping an eye on, it is pretty much just to the east of the Mississippi River now. The secondary cluster of showers and storms is just starting to enter portions of Lee, St. Francis, as well as Cross and Poinsett counties. That isn't necessarily severe warned, but it still does pack a bit of a punch here with some 50-mile-per-hour gusts. So both these lines of storms, they kind of pack their own punch here. With both of them, you can really expect at least 40-mile-per-hour winds, some moderate to heavy rain, and even some small hail that will be around as well. Let's see. Reading some different things that the National Weather Service are saying. If you see my eyes starting to focus over here, I'm looking at a conversation kind of going back and forth between the National Weather Service and a bunch of meteorologists really around the country for that matter. It's tough for the National Weather Service to really be able to see that secondary line of showers and storms, because this first round of showers and storms is almost kind of covering up the picture and not really able to show us what we have going on with that back half storm here. So there's a little, I don't want to say it's a guessing game because that's not the right way to put it, but there's a little bit of trial and error that does go embedded with seeing that secondary line of showers and storms move itself to the east here. But still want to focus back into that area that is severe warned right now. And just to give you a little bit of a wider view of things, I'm meteorologist Eric Brill. The time right now is 9:48 in the morning here, and I think we just got a lightning strike here at the station. And I don't know if your screen just went to gray or black, but I know that's what mine just did as far as watching the coverage that we have here in Midtown Memphis. That kind of caught me off guard here. National Weather Service, let's see. Looking at some new data that they have, they are going to be issuing a severe thunderstorm watch that will be through 4 p.m. It will be for the southern 2/3 of the region here. They will have more information coming out soon, but they have a severe thunderstorm watch that will be coming through for the majority of the Mid-South here until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Did get a report here over into North Bartlett that there were some 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts that were occurring into that portion of Shelby County, and that is where the severe thunderstorm warning is right now here. Going to take a little bit closer of a look right now. Notice how we do have some of those reds and purples, and I'll tell you what, the lightning's cranking here pretty good in Midtown Memphis. But notice how we have some darker reds and purples right now. That's where some of the heavier rain is. If I flip this over to the Barron button, so these purples that are on your screen right now, and there you go, you kind of see the backdrop here. That's where the severe thunderstorm watch was just issued. So since that just came out, let me turn around and see if I could flip this back to give us a better idea where we do have that watch right now. So the watch, let's get the information here. So the areas that are in yellow, and that includes, let's see, who do we have in here? Cross County, St. Francis, Lee, Phillips, and Crittenden counties into northeast Arkansas. And then into Tennessee, we're talking about Tipton, Haywood, Shelby, Fayette, Hardeman, McNary, Chester, as well as Madison, Henderson, and Hardin counties. You're under a severe thunderstorm watch until 4 p.m. All northern Mississippi is within this too. Doesn't make a difference if you're in Corinth, if you're into Snow Lake Shores, if you're over in Batesville, Clarksdale, if you're into Clayton, if you're over into Horn Lake. All those areas are under severe thunderstorm watch now until 4 p.m. So, you know, let's see, the time right now is 9:50, so we have 6 hours and 10 minutes to go before that watch is set to expire here. But I want to turn around and turn that off here because, you know, the thing about a watch is it's just going to hang there forever. It's not like it's going to be going away really anytime soon here. So I want to turn that back off. Let me clear up that 13 dBz, which is just telling us basically how hard it is or isn't raining here. And look at the wide view of things here across the Mid-South. As far as, let's see, that severe thunderstorm warning goes, that is still in place here for the northeastern corner of Shelby County, the vast majority of Tipton County, and that's it for the time being, at least until 10:15 this evening, or 10:15 this morning here. Getting my times messed up. Meteorologist Patrick Ellis sent me another text message noting that there was a 30+ mile per hour wind gust over into Bartlett, and that makes sense because that is a severe warned area. And there's a little bit of a bowing trying to happen here. Always got to keep an eye on that. That's where we could be seeing some of those stronger winds right now. The rotation detector, fortunately, it does have some moderate rotation out there, but nothing that's really catching my eye, especially since this whole thing is pretty much a line. And the thing that I'm looking at here is the green line that is on your screen here. Notice as far as this line goes, it's not necessarily kind of, you know, bits and pieces. It's sort of really just a straight line here. And that's usually a good indication that there's just strong winds in general embedded within this. You can get a quick little spin up here as far as the tornado goes, but there's nothing overly concerning here that's indication of, you know, maybe some tornadic activity going on. It's still something I will keep a close eye on. And, you know, meteorologists here, we talk about couplets all the time. And I'm sure if you enjoy, I don't want to say enjoy severe weather, because severe weather it's dangerous and quite frankly it could be deadly. We've unfortunately seen that here around the Mid-South this spring. But if you've heard meteorologists talk about a couplet before, you see the greens and the reds kind of overlapping and intersecting each other here. Fortunately, this isn't really anything earth-shattering as far as any sort of rotation that looks like it's popping up here on the screen. If I did have to pick one place that, you know, maybe there was an emphasized raised eyebrow where we could maybe be seeing a little bit of rotation going on, it would be into the central portion of DeSoto County. And unfortunately, this is an area that was hit not that long ago over into the Hernando region, going back here. I guess it would have been about 3 weeks ago at this point. Quite frankly, a lot of these days I start to blend together here. But that's where there may be just a little bit of broad rotation going on just to the north and northeast of Hernando over towards Bright and Lewisburg. So keeping our fingers crossed that we don't have any sort of rotation going on there where the National Weather Service starts to detect it. And you do see that the rotation detector, it is trying to pick up at least a little something here into the central portion of DeSoto County. So, you know, as a safe than sorry measure, honestly, even though DeSoto County isn't even under the severe thunderstorm warning, good idea to get into your safe place. Put as many walls between yourself and the outside world, and just be safe than sorry with this, just in case they do issue some sort of new warning going on here, just because, you know, there is at least a little bit of turbulence going on in the sky here into portions of DeSoto County. Meteorologist Patrick Ellis, he sent me another text message. He's been doing a great job of giving me some of these reports here. He noted that the winds weren't too bad where he was at. He's over into northeastern Shelby County. So at least there is good news for the warned area. It doesn't seem like it's anything too titanic as far as crazy strong winds go or over-the-top hail or, you know, anything crazy with the storm. It's just it's a lot of lightning, which, hey, lightning, that could still do a lot of damage. Let's not get that mixed up here. But some heavy rain still going on right now. It's northeastern Shelby County and into the western side of Tipton County. This cluster of showers and storms, and let me double check the National Weather Service here because they had said it was moving at about 40 miles per hour. The last check I did see here. They're still saying moving to the east at about 40 miles per hour. So let's put a track on this guy. So the white line on your screen, it's pretty much just a tracer, and I have to tell, you know, where we want to go here. And this is moving to the east. I think there's a slight northerly component within it here, but it is generally moving to the east. And if we keep that going here, this looks to be in Garland at 9:56 as well as Brighton at 9:56. Right now the time is 9:54. You can see that on the upper left-hand portion of your screen next to where it says SAT, indicating the time here at Action News 5. 10:02 in Arlington, 10:04 in Covington, 10:06 in Galloway, 10:09 over into Braden, Tennessee. Mason, your time when you can start to see some heavier rain, some lightning, some stronger winds, and even some small hail embedded is 10:11. Charleston, 10:14. Stanton at 10:22. And St. Peter's at 10:27. That is when what is now a severe warned thunderstorm looks to move towards your area. Now, as it does get closer to you, it doesn't automatically mean that this is going to be a severe thunderstorm warning, but at least the potential has been there for this to be a severe warned storm. The wider view of things here across the Mid-South, I know a lot of people tuning in from all around the region. If you're into Corinth, if you're in Selmer, if you're in Benton, if you're in Sladen, if you're in Bolivar, if you're over into Eads, if you're in Somerville, Right now, it's pretty tame, it's pretty quiet, but this is headed in your general direction right now. National Weather Service noting, here we go, and this is the area that I was just talking about here a couple of moments ago, into DeSoto County. They're about to issue a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag. I am not too surprised that they did this, unfortunately, just because there definitely is some broad rotation right now going on just to the east of really the 55 and 69 intersection here, just to the north of Brighton, Lewisburg. Some of those roads, good idea to get in your safe place right now. Over towards Laughter Road, Craft Road, Ross Road, Byhalia Road, even further down the line here, Red Banks Road, over into Stonewall. If you know anybody that is traversing on I-22, Highway 78 right now over towards Byhalia, give them a first alert. Make sure that they know that there is a severe thunderstorm warn storm headed towards their area and that there could be a tornado embedded within this. I think that's a great call by the National Weather Service's behalf to say that there's a tornado possible tag within here, because notice the rotation detector just above where it says bright. You see some red on your screen. That is an indication that there's at least some strong rotation going on here, and where we could be seeing, you know, some swirling clouds, to be quite frank. Something else that's kind of interesting too, so this is going to be on a 30-minute loop. Notice how, you know, it started off here just as a plain green line per se, but we're starting to see more of those reds pop up. That, to me, and this is me just really talking out loud, that's where we could be seeing some of that rotation starting to pick itself up here. So good idea, get in your safe place. And, you know, something else that I've tried to do here ever since that early April severe weather outbreak, I've tried to go to all these different communities here around the Mid-South that have been hit by these, you know, tornadoes and just these really nasty storms, and just pick the brains of people, because it's really important for me, because I still am newer here, not only to the Mid-South, but at Action News 5, to pick the brains of these people and, you know, hear what they have to say. And I know that people over in Selmer, they were saying when the storms were in Holly Springs, that was their kind of uh-oh time here when we could be seeing, you know, the tornadoes kind of head in their area. I will say, as far as these storms go, and for Sladen, I know some of those people were kind of more in the Byhalia area and Hernando area. These storms right now, they are generally moving to the east more than really the north or the south here. But if you are over into Byhalia, if you're in Lewisburg, Cedarview, Fairhaven, Miller, Stonewall, or Bright, this is in DeSoto County, get to that safe place right now, because there's at least some rotation being detected here. And this is noting that there could be some strong rotation too. Not a good situation, not a good idea to be traveling along Highway 69 right now, or I-69 for that matter, into DeSoto County. Craft Road, Ross Road, Bethel Road, Allison Road, McElroy Road, Woolsey Road, Jones Road, Dunn Lane, Byhalia Road, a little bit closer of a look right now to Lewisburg, Plantation Oaks Drive, Ross Road, Fairview Road, Red Banks Road, Jason Way, Fairview Road, Byhalia Road, Lewis Street, Lee Road, Mason Road, Pigeon Roost Road, Bell Road, Miller Road. If you're in these areas into really the eastern side of DeSoto County, and if you live in eastern DeSoto County, or if you live in northwestern Marshall County, get into that safe place now. No reason not to. This is a severe thunderstorm warned storm with a tornado possible attachment to it. So it doesn't mean it is straight up a tornado warning, but there's at least the possibility of having a tornado embedded within here, but it's not necessarily a given. That's one thing I do want to note here. We haven't had anything confirmed on the ground or anything like that. If there was, trust me, I'd be a lot more adamant right now and a lot more jumpy and really kind of talking about different things more. Let's see if we could pop this back out here. I want to get more of the information that we have here when it does come to this warning here across DeSoto County. Can we pop that up? Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to let me to. The warning that is in place for portions of Fayette, DeSoto, Benton, and Marshall counties, that, excuse me, that is in place until, let's see here, 10:45, and that is also moving to the east at about 40 miles per hour. That could also be having some 60-mile-per-hour winds and some nickel-sized hail embedded. National Weather Service noting that they are going to drop the severe thunderstorm warning that is in place for western Tennessee. The one that had been in place for Shelby County and Tipton County, they're going to allow that one to be eliminated here, so there is at least good news that we can get rid of one of those severe thunderstorm warnings here across the Mid-South. But to give you a wide view of things, right now we have two severe thunderstorm warnings, one that is in place for Tipton as well Shelby County, and another that is in place for DeSoto, Marshall, Benton, and Fayette County, really along the Mississippi-Tennessee border right now. The one that's further to the north that you do see that engulfs Munford, that one is expected to be canceled here rather shortly, so we have some good news there. But the one that is in northern Mississippi, this is one we got to keep an eye on here. This one has a little bit of spin to it, a little bit of turbulence within it. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a tornado-warned storm, but if we put the rotation detector on here and kind of rock this back and forth really over the past few minutes, notice some of those reds. That's an indication there that we could be seeing some turbulence, some rotation within the sky. So not a good situation there into the Hernando and Byhalia area, into Lewisburg, Cockram, Cedarview, Ingram Mill, Stonewall, Red Banks. A lot of these areas here, they were unfortunately hit pretty hard by a severe warned storm and a tornado warned storm and an actual tornado itself going back about 3 weeks ago. Excuse me. Meteorologist Patrick Ellis, he's doing a bang-up job here, texting me, giving me a little updates here and there. National weather, he's kind of making just good points, and I'm kind of reading this on the fly, obviously, while I'm doing this on camera here. He's noting here, just as far as the straight line winds are probably a bigger deal than anything else out of this, and he's not wrong about that, but you can kind of get these quick little spin-ups that do occur here along this line. But these areas that are in green and red, the ones that are close to each other, those are the ones where you can get that quick spin up. The overall threat here is just straight line winds, but these little notches that do start to flare up every now and then, that's when we could start to see our issues arise here as far as any sort of tornadic activity. And I'm looking really into that Lewisburg, Cedarview area, or into Byhalia, Miller, and Fairhaven, generally into the eastern portion of DeSoto County and the far western portion of Marshall County, the northwestern portion of Marshall County for that matter. Do want to still keep an eye on that secondary line of showers and storms that is moving through Poinsett County, through Cross, St. Francis, and Lee counties. That is racing off to the east as well at about 40 miles per hour. If we turn around and put a half-hour loop on this thing here, and I know that there's a lot going on here. The thing that you see spinning here as far as that white line that's towards the top of your screen right now, that's the radar beam, and honestly, that's really more for show than anything else. Just so you know that there is a radar beam spinning around here that is based out of Millington, and that kind of gives us our updates here with respect to what the radar is showing. The different boxes that you see popping up on your screen here, those yellow boxes or the orange boxes, depending on how you look at them. Those are severe thunderstorm warnings that are in place. You do see that the one severe thunderstorm warning that was originally in place for Crittenden, as well as Mississippi counties in northeast Arkansas, and then it was just in place for Tipton and Shelby counties in western Tennessee. Fortunately, that has been able to expire here, but we still do have a severe thunderstorm warning that is in place for portions of DeSoto, Marshall, Benton, and Fayette counties, and that is until 10:45 here. So we still have a bit of time to go before that is set to expire. Notice too that there's another cluster of showers and storms that still has a bit of heavy rain and some lightning embedded within it here that is moving through northeast Arkansas again. So you got that first batch to move through here rather recently, and now you're getting a second batch to move through here. We turn around and put the lightning on it here too. The little white lines that you see pop up on your screen, that's where the lightning is right now, or where the lightning was when this loop started here. That's where we are seeing some of that activity. Let's see if we do have any sort of interesting or big time numbers on here with these skits. These arrows here, these are known as skits. Fortunately, the BTI numbers aren't too impressive. 2.6 right now, just inside of the 240 loop as that starts to approach Winchester Road and really I'd say Germantown for that matter. So at least that number is not ridiculously high, but at 2.6 we're still aware of it. Into the northeastern corner of Shelby County here, that BTI number is a 2.6 as well. So nothing that's over the top high, but still numbers that are, they're not nothing here more than anything else. And then that secondary batch of showers and storms that's still in northeast Arkansas, that has a BTI of 2.5. So yet again, we don't have crazy high numbers with these BTIs, but they still are, they're not nothing numbers more than anything else. Do want to know, if you're tuning in right now, if you're into Lafayette County, Panola County, Coahoma, Quitman County, you're not seeing anything right now, but you'll be seeing, well, Quitman County is starting to see a thunderstorm develop here, especially on the north side of the county. But you're not seeing too much activity going on right now. You will be seeing showers and storms around here over the next bit, though. As far as what we have going on into McNary, Hardeman, Benton, Tip, and Alcorn counties, you're quiet right now, but we are starting to see those showers and storms get a little bit closer to you on this Thursday, or this Saturday morning, rather, across the Mid-South. What else we got going on here? They got a new little arrow to pop up here into northern Tipton County. What does this one say? So the box I'm looking on the right-hand side of your screen, this is saying this is moving at 83 miles per hour. This is not moving at 83 miles per hour. And the VIL density here that says 1.50 G/M3, that gives us an indication how much water is basically within the sky in that column of air above us, and that can really give us a good idea if it's a torrential downpour or if there could be some hail around. It looks like there is some pretty heavy rain right now into northern Tipton County, but nothing that's, big time hail or something like that. But still, these little notches that pop up here into northeastern DeSoto County, and I know in this area there's a lot of storm anxiety going on, and I don't fault you guys for that whatsoever here, because it has been a pretty rough past month or so, especially in this portion of the Mid-South. There likely is still some churning winds right now, but nothing that screams tornadic activity. This looks to be more just straight line winds than anything else here, and everything that I'm looking at here kind of indicates that as well. It is worthwhile to note too that this is warned for the potential 60-mile-per-hour winds as well as nickel-sized hail. So it is, relatively speaking, a quote-unquote minimally warned storm here, but still got to treat that with respect here, because those 60-mile-per-hour storms, they could still cause a lot of havoc here, especially if we go from 0 to 60 really quickly here. If you're in Byhalia, get in your safe place, no reason not to. Early Grove, Sladen, Mount Pleasant, Casey, Barton, Tasca, Victoria, a lot of these areas into northern Marshall County. Good idea to be safe than sorry with respect to this, just because that rotation detector, it's still at least picking up, something going on here, even if it is just straight line winds. You're likely going to be going from seeing really not much wind whatsoever to those winds getting strong pretty quickly here across the Mid-South. Wide view of things, still just have that one severe thunderstorm warning that is in place here immediately within the Mid-South. There is another cluster of severe warned storms that is in eastern Arkansas. It doesn't specifically include our counties here, but over into Monroe County, Woodruff County, that's where there is a severe thunderstorm warning right now, so I'll be keeping an eye on that. But that's where the National Weather Service starts to transition from being the Little Rock area to the Memphis and Mid-South area, so that's why there can be a little bit of, I don't want to say disagreement, but that's why the lines don't necessarily line up, because the counties here, they kind of get not sheared off either, but they get divvied up. The ones that are east of that warning, they're for Memphis. The ones that are west of that warning, that's where they are for Little Rock here. Let's see if anything else is really popping up. Now the BTI number, it bumped back up to a 4.0. The thing is, though, that's not really the right spot for us to necessarily see a tornado come about here. Quite frankly, if you're going to get a tornado to happen, it's got to be on the front side of some of this stuff. It can't really be on the back side. But still a good idea to be safe than sorry here into eastern Shelby County. Put as many walls between yourself and the outside world, even if you aren't under a severe thunderstorm warning, just to play it safe. There's really no reason not to. If you see me kind of popping up different things here, so this is looking at the storm threats. The green on your screen indicates that there's just a lot of rain, and even those darker purples usually just indicate rain. Once you start seeing some of these lighter purples and pinks start to pop up, that's where there could be some small hail embedded. So that looks to be the case into Arlington and Galloway, over towards Braden, Bolton for that matter. It looks like near the town square here in Arlington, some heavier rain could be going on right now. Collierville, Arlington Road, over towards Borough Cemetery Road, US Highway 79, State Route 1, Witteringen Road, Braden Road, Tilly Lane. What else do we have? Deadfall Road, over into Osborne Town Road, Godwin Road, Van Road. Some of these areas are likely seeing some at least really heavy rain, and there could be some small hail embedded on the north and west side of Galloway, Red and downtown Arlington, into Braden, Ebenezer, Cannon Grove. Some of those areas are seeing some pretty heavy rain around right now. Fortunately, you're not under a severe thunderstorm warning, but it still doesn't mean it's exactly a pleasant day there into Shelby County as well as into Tipton County too. National Weather, Patrick Ellis rather, saying that Arlington's getting some 35-mile-per-hour wind gusts there. That's not really too much of a surprise. And he noted, too, he wouldn't be too surprised if they do issue some sort of severe thunderstorm warning here into portions of Tipton and into Fayette counties for that leading edge that we were just zoomed in on. And I get what his point is here. He's thinking that there's some pretty strong winds around there, and he's not really wrong about that either. But right now, as of 10:09, and that's the time it is right now here across the Mid-South. I'm meteorologist Eric Brill. We have one severe thunderstorm warning that is in place. It does include the eastern portion of DeSoto County, the northern portion of Marshall County, the far northwestern corner of Benton County, and the far southern, I'll call it half, of Fayette County. This is until 10:45. It is warned for the potential of 60-mile-per-hour winds. Some nickel-sized hail is possible as well, but if you get nickel-sized hail, that's not severe warned. That's just under the threshold of being severe warned. But there still is a lot of heavy rain and some lightning embedded within this too. If you're in Memphis, really the worst of it's to your east now. If you're in Germantown and Collierville, well, if you're in Germantown, you're kind of in the teeth of this. And if you're in Collierville, it depends where you're at, but you're starting to really get to the teeth of this too. You don't have a severe thunderstorm warning in your area specifically, but there's still some heavy rain, some stronger winds, and some small hail that could be embedded within this. The National Weather Service did note that that a tornado was possible with the one severe thunderstorm warning that we have around right now. But they haven't had anything confirmed on the ground or anything like that. But they do think that there's at least some rotation going on there, so it's kind of a safe than sorry sort of measure when you put out that tornado possible tag here. If we turn around and look at the rotation detector that we have across the Mid-South here, the good news is that this is all along a straight line here. It's not like we have, you know, something that's glaringly obvious, and you'd rather almost have it really along a line than necessarily just kind of little spots here and there, because at least if it's along a line, that's usually an indication of just some straight line winds and not necessarily tornadic straight up activity per se. But some of these little notches, they do get to become a little bit interesting here. Just to the south of Collierville, not a bad idea to get into your safe place right now. As yet again a safe than sorry measure. The areas that start to really kind of capture my attention would be over there where there's a little bit of a gap between the yellows and the oranges, just to the south of Barton over here too. And then if we start scooting a little bit further down to the south here, over towards the Lewisburg area, just to the west of Byhalia. Some of these areas just to the north of Byhalia Road and just to the west of Red Banks Road and out to the east of Ross Road. That's where we could be seeing some stronger winds embedded. And maybe if we were to have something spin up here quick, that's exactly where it would be in kind of that general circled area. Fortunately, this isn't a sharp angle, it's kind of a broad angle, so that at least is a good thing, because if it was a sharper angle, that's where you could really start to see your spin up, or a better chance of a spin up occurring here. But fortunately, it just looks to be kind of broad rotation for right now, even though the rotation detector is indicating some strong rotation. Nothing's saying, you know, uh-oh, I guess, per se, or really kind of saying, you know, we got a tornado on the ground or something like that. I know that this area really throughout DeSoto County, northern Marshall County, man, you guys have had it pretty rough this year as far as just tornadic activity goes. So I'm keeping a really close eye on you. What do we have here as far as a BTI? That has a 2.9 on it. This is saying that the back edge of the storm will be into Collierville by about 10:24, Piperton at 10:27, and Rossville at 10:34. Could be some small hail embedded within that. But this is the first of two lines of showers and storms that will be moving through the region here. So the first one is scooting off to the east at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. And if we put a track on this here over the next, you know, bit, this will be in Piperton at 10:16, Oakland at 10:16, Stanton at 10:20, Byhalia at 10:21, Rossville at 10:22, St. Peter's at 10:27, Somerville at 10:28, Lebanon at 10:30, Williston at 10:30, and Moscow at 10:35 as far as this first round of showers and storms that will be moving through the area. And then we have a secondary cluster of showers and storms that is back behind this here. Fortunately, this hasn't been severe warned yet for northeast Arkansas, but it still does pack a bit of a punch here as far as some heavier rain, some stronger winds, and even some small hail that could be embedded within this. And if you're into downtown Memphis, hey, you just got through that first batch, you might be saying, that's it, we're done and over with. Now, we got another one coming here before you do know it. Parkin, you're starting to see that secondary line of showers and storms move through your area now. Hughes at 10:22, Earl at 10:23, Truman, Arkansas at 10:23, Mark Tree at 10:30, West Helena at 10:34, Anthonyville also at 10:34, Crawfordsville at 10:35, as well as Tyronza, and then Edmondson at 10:36. So this still has a little ways to go before it does make its way into actual Memphis. I think by the time we kind of move towards 11 o'clock, and right now it's 10:13, that's when it will be moving into specifically the Memphis region. Let me turn around and put a track on this, so this way we get a better estimated time here. This is saying West Memphis at 10:43 and Walls at 10:45. So this is even still a little bit too broad of a view here. Let me circle this in or try to dive in a little bit closer to this here. This got to include Memphis now. Okay, there we go. Mud Island at 10:57, Memphis at 10:57, and well, Tom Lee Park at 10:56. So really just before the top of the hour, that's when the secondary line of showers and storms will be moving through the region here, at least for specifically Memphis. National Weather Service noting that they are continuing the severe thunderstorm warning that still is in place here for portions of Marshall, as well as Benton and into Fayette counties and into the eastern side of DeSoto County. This is still warned for the potential 60-mile-per-hour winds and some nickel-sized hail that could be occurring here, and it is still scooting to the east at about 40 miles per hour. I don't think that they still have that tornado possible tag on. Nope, they still do have the tornado possible tag on here. So that's worthwhile to point out. But if we track this on out, if this is still moving at about 40 miles per hour, let's track this out to the east here so we get some more communities here. right along Highway 72, Byhalia 1017, and then into Grand Junction at about 1055. So, I mean, Byhalia, it's pretty much on top of you right now. In Grand Junction, you're looking at about 1055. If you're in Sladen, I'm thinking more in the range of about 1025 to 1030 for your area. A good idea to get into your safe place, just because this is a severe warned storm, but it does have the possibility of a tornado within it here. And I know that there's so many of you that are in Marshall County that, you know, you have a lot of storm anxiety. And I can't fault you for that whatsoever, because the storms that we've seen thus far this spring, they have been pretty nasty. National Weather Service noting that there is still some broad rotation near Byhalia and I-78, or Highway 78 and I-22. Let's see. Yep, still definitely have some rotation going on in here. What road is this that we have going off from north to south here? This would still be Byhalia Road that we have. Fields Road, Bubba Taylor Road over towards Davis Road. Let me turn around and clear that off of here. Casey Road, Dogwood Road, Mount Zion Road, East Cox Road, Williams Road, Battle Road. If you're into the northwestern corner of Marshall County, and I don't know if your town name or your street name, good idea getting your safe place. Play it safe than sorry here, no reason not to. North Red Banks Road, Wildcat Bottom Road, Lofton Road, Tasca Road, Jones Road, Jamie Drive, over into Parker Road, Mount Zion Road. If I've read off your street name here into northwestern portions of Marshall County, get into your safe place right now, no reason not to, because even though this is a severe warned storm, a severe thunderstorm warned storm, we could still be seeing some strong winds embedded, and at least there could be some rotation going on right now. It might be just broad rotation, but there's at least still something going on. If we were to see some sort of tornadic activity right now, this would be the area that I'd keep an eye on. So it might not be specifically in Byhalia, but it is right in that same general area that we've been kind of keeping an eye on here over about the past, I'd say about half hour at this point. Down to the south, there's still some broad rotation into southeastern portions of DeSoto County, but nothing that looks quite as organized as to the north here. But still keep an eye on this here, just because, you know, yet again, DeSoto County, Marshall County, you guys have seen some pretty rough storms here over the past, really, from DeSoto County, about the past 3 weeks or so. And for Marshall County, this still goes back to April and, you know, years before, quite frankly, I was here too. One thing I do want to note is that we still do have the severe thunderstorm watch. That was just issued here within the past little bit. Let me clear off some of the stuff that we have on here. We have a severe thunderstorm watch that is in place until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. This does include the majority of northeast Arkansas, specifically in Cross, St. Francis, Lee, Phillips, and Crittenden counties. In western Tennessee, Shelby, Tipton, Fayette, Haywood, Hardeman, McNary, Chester, Madison, Henderson, and Hardin counties. In northern Mississippi, I mean, if you're watching us, chances are, you know, you're in the severe thunderstorm watch here, but it does include Coahoma, Quitman, Tunica, DeSoto, Tate, Panola, Lafayette, Marshall, Benton, Tippa, Alcorn, Prentice, Lee, Union, Pontotoc, Calhoun, Yalabusha, Tallahatchie, Chickasaw, Monroe, and Calhoun counties. And this is all until 4 o'clock this evening here, or this afternoon. So we still have just under 6 hours to go before that is all said and done as far as the actual warned storm or the watch goes here across the Mid-South. But we got to get through these next few warnings here before we kind of look down the road for more potential storms that could be on the way here. Let's see, National Weather Service, nothing really new here as far as updates go. There still is definitely some broad rotation going on right now near Byhalia, so good idea to get in that safe place right now. If you're in Mount Pleasant, Sladen, Tasca, Casey, Atway, Mac, get into your safe place right now. You do have a severe thunderstorm warning that is in place until 10:45. The rotation detector is still picking up at least some broad rotation, and this has some strong rotation going on right now just northeast of Byhalia. This isn't a tornado warned storm, but it still does at least have some rotation embedded within it here. Some BTI numbers, or the Barron Tornado Index, that's a scale of 0 to 10. This is registering as a 3.6 right now, so that's not an overly high number, but it still isn't exactly a 0. It's a fair number that is around here. Let's see, meteorologist Patrick Ellis, he's given me some updates here. Let's see, Juneteenth opening has been pushed back till noon, and the Mid-South Pride Parade has been canceled. So if your plans were to attend either one of those events, certainly be aware of that. Yet again, Juneteenth opening has been pushed back to noon, and the Mid-South Pride Parade has been canceled. So not ideal situation there. Do appreciate meteorologist Patrick Ellis for kind of giving me some different information going on here. And I'll tell you what, that dude's a heck of a team player. Doesn't make a difference if he's at home, if he's out and about. He's always trying to help us out here, whether it be Chief Meteorologist Ron Childers, myself, or really anybody here at Action News 5. He's just honestly just a great human being and a great individual. But as far as what we have going on here across the Mid-South, so I want to reset here. Good idea to always do that about every 10 to 15 minutes or so, if not even a little more often than not. Meteorologist Eric Brill, the time right now is 10:20 on this Saturday morning. It is the 7th of June. Hopefully you've had a fantastic start to your day. We weren't able to see some drier hours and drier times really before about 8 o'clock or so this morning, and then we started seeing some showers and thunderstorms in northeast Arkansas. Those have been able to spread to the east into western Tennessee, and now northern Mississippi is within a severe thunderstorm warning that is in place. National Weather Service does have one severe thunderstorm warning out right now. It is for the eastern portion of DeSoto County, the northern portion of Marshall County, the southern portion of Fayette County, and the far northwestern corner of Benton County. This is a severe warning storm for the potential 60-mile-per-hour winds. There could also be some nickel-sized hail embedded within this. That's not quite up to the severe parameter, but it is still close. And the National Weather Service also did note that there was some rotation, some broad rotation going on. So they did put a tornado possible tag within this. It's almost like the younger sibling, per se, of a tornado warning. It's kind of saying it could happen. We don't think it will, but it has a possibility of at least happening. So let's dive into that. Worthwhile to note, if you are into really Shelby County almost as a whole right now, the first round of showers and storms, it's to your east, but there is a secondary line of showers and storms that's starting to move into Crittenden County, and that is moving into Shelby County here within about the next half hour or so. I think by the time we move between about 10:55 to 11 o'clock this morning, so in roughly 35 to 40 minutes, we will be starting to see some heavier rain, some lightning, some even small hail and stronger winds return to Shelby County, but I don't think that is going to be severe warning. I'm going to ride this out as far as this severe thunderstorm warning goes until they kind of know that there's no more rotation on this, and that I feel confident that we're going to be in at least fair shape within this, because, you know, when it comes down to it, as far as the job of a meteorologist here, as far as a broadcast meteorologist, is to keep you guys safe more than anything else. Trust me. I want to have a cup of water right now. I want to get away and just kind of decompress here for a little bit. But reality is, we got to keep you guys safe here across the Mid-South, because that is the objective here of being a broadcast meteorologist. Right now, over in Piperton, we have an arrow on your screen here. We could turn around and see what we got going on with that. That is a BTI of 3.4. That is the Barron Tornado Index. That is a scale of 0 to 10 right now. And once that number climbs above a 5, it personally starts to get my attention. Once it climbs above a 7, that's when we start talking about tornado being on the ground. And once we start talking about a 10, it's not a good situation. 10s don't happen often, but when they do, they're uh-oh numbers, to kind of keep it G-rated here. That number of a 3.4, it's a moderate number. It's nothing outrageous, but it's still a fair number. We turn around and see what the rotation detector's got going on. This looks to be a little bit more broad than it had been, so there is at least some good news there. Notice you don't see quite as many of those little red lines or boxes or points kind of popping up. These are a lot more greens now. There are still some reds to the north into central portions of Fayette County towards Rossville, Hayes, Williston, Moscow, as well as Macon. But nothing that's, yet again, really making me say, uh-oh. With that said, Bobbitt Road, Birch Drive, Fortune Road, McKinstry Road, State Route 76, State Route 193. This is in Fayette County in Tennessee. Good idea to get in a safe place as a safe than sorry sort of measure here as far as this goes, just because there still could be some broad rotation embedded. Let's turn around and see what we have here for any sort of BTI numbers. That has a 3.0. So at least this number in this general region has started to fall back just a little bit. It had peaked, I believe, at a 4.2. So the fact that it's at a 3.0, we're heading in the right direction. It shouldn't be anything too crazy here. As far as the storm threats go, this still looks to be just kind of heavier rain more than anything else. I'm sure that there is some small hail embedded, especially into Collierville. But fortunately, I don't think it's anything crazy big as far as the hail goes. Might be seeing some pea-sized hail, and this is saying dime-sized hail, and this has a tendency to overdo the hail size here. So, hey, if there's dime-sized hail, I guess the good news is out of that, it's not, you know, ridiculously big hail. It's just, you know, relatively small hail than anything. It looks like northern Fayette County, that's where we might be seeing a better chance of seeing some dime-sized hail, if anything, here. Let's see if that pops up anything interesting. Yeah, BTI 2.7. So yet again, not a crazy high number, but still at least a moderate number more than anything here. So overall, you know, we still do have that severe thunderstorm warning that is in place for the eastern side, the northeast corner of DeSoto County, the northern portion of Marshall County, the northwestern portion of Benton County, the southern portion of Fayette County. I think we're actually in about as fair shape as you could hope for here with respect to being under severe thunderstorm watch right now until 4 p.m. Excuse me. But if you're into DeSoto County, yeah, you still have some showers and thunderstorms around right now, but I think you're in better shape than you were here just a little while ago, even though you're about to see the secondary round of showers and storms move through your region. The same can be said into Memphis and Shelby County. If you're in Benton, Tippah, Alcorn, McNairy, Hardeman counties, you are high and dry right now, but you will be seeing some showers and storms move through there, really through about 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. If you're into Dyer County, Crockett County, Lauderdale County, heck, even Mississippi County, yeah, you've seen some showers around this morning, but nothing really over the top. Poinsett and Cross County, you're seeing that secondary line of showers and storms moving through. Fortunately, it is not severe warned, but it still does pack a bit of a punch here with some heavier rain, potentially some small hail and some gustier winds. That can also be said for Crittenden County. If you are in St. Francis and Lee counties, you saw some heavier rain too, but the worst of that's starting to move to your east, and that can really be noted for Phillips County as well here. So at least the good news is Northeast Arkansas, you're starting to move in a better shape than we were here just about a half hour ago. Still do have a BTI number of a 4.0 right now, pretty close to the Tunica Resorts area, so I'll start to dive into that, but let me kind of do a little bit of a tour of all these. That's a good sign there. The National Weather Service did take Fayette County out of the severe thunderstorm warning, and they also did remove DeSoto County and a very small portion of Marshall County. So right now, the only severe thunderstorm warning that we do have in place here across the Mid-South, it is for northern Marshall County and into the northwestern corner of Benton County. National Weather Service noting that this is still warned for the potential of some 60-mile-per-hour winds and some nickel-sized hail that could be around. They also did note that the possibility is still there for a tornado to flare up here pretty quickly. But I think as far as that threat goes, it's not as high as it was going back here about 15 to 20 minutes ago. So that's at least something I feel a little bit better on. Although I say that in this little area of brown or red or whatever color you want to call that, just to the north of Victoria, did start to pick up here near the Rabbit Ridge Road area. Don't say that one 3 times fast, kids. North Red Banks Road, Moore Road, Briscoe Road, State Highway 311, Wildcat Bottom Road. If you're over into Mack or Attaway, good idea to get in your safe place since you are under a severe thunderstorm warning as it is. Treat this as if it was a tornado warning, just as a safe than sorry measure. If you're in Sladen, it looks like I don't want to say the strongest rotation because that's not really the right way to word it, but the best opportunity for rotation is going to say just to your south, but it is a close call. You should still, treat a severe thunderstorm warning really like a tornado warning in a situation like this when the National Weather Service does note that a tornado is possible. If we were to see one, it's right in this area, Rabbit Ridge Road, Moore Road, North Red Banks Road, Felix Road. Some of these areas, if you know anybody in that community, they're just to the north of Red Banks and to the north of I-22. Good idea to give them a call and just make sure that they're in their safe place. And the good news is it's 10:30 in the morning. It's not like you're gonna, well, I can't really imagine you're gonna wake up too many people, especially in this part of the Mid-South here. If there's one thing I learned about the folks over in Marshall County, they are early risers and they're backing at it before even the sun rises, especially this time of the year. And that's the only severe thunderstorm warning that we have in place right now is into northern Marshall County and into northwestern portions of Benton County. Into Tunica County, I did say that I wanted to dive back into that because that's where we did have a BTI here of, I believe it was a 4.0. And that's still the case right now. This is saying that this will reach Horn Lake and Hernando by about 10:51 and South Haven at 10:53. And if you are in Horn Lake or Hernando or South Haven for that matter, I know that you already did get hit by one storm. This is a secondary round, and this is really the more potent line of showers and storms that we were anticipating to move through the Mid-South here during the late morning and the early afternoon hours, and that looks to be the case really through Tunica County right now. Let me see. That's probably not going to work. I won't do that. Let's flip this over to see if there's any sort of rotation going on. Looks like it's just a bunch of broad rotation. That's the case now into northern Marshall County. So I'm starting to be cautiously optimistic that we're in a fair spot right now, really throughout most of the Mid-South. But I just really want to get this warning out of here. Let that warning clear out before I tune you guys back over to regular scheduled programming here. Just because, it doesn't make a difference where you're at across the Mid-South. You got to treat everybody the same as far as if we do have a warning in place here across the region. But I think we're in a pretty good spot right now. So I'm cautiously optimistic where we are at. And hey, when I say that we're in a pretty good spot, it doesn't mean we're not going to see rain showers and thunderstorms around the Mid-South here. That's going to likely be the case through about 3, 4 o'clock in the evening here. If you're in northeast Arkansas, I'd give it till about 2 o'clock as far as seeing the rain. If you're, say, over in Corinth, if you're into Snow Lake Shores, if you're in Oxford, if you're in Lafayette County, you haven't really seen a drop of rain up to this point here. And you probably still won't see a drop of rain here for about another hour and a half or so. But the back edge of the showers and storms. It won't clear you until probably more like 5, 6 o'clock in the evening here. So once we kind of get both of these lines on out of here, we're going to be smooth sailing here across the Mid-South. But until then, we still do have a severe thunderstorm watch in place for the vast majority of the Mid-South until 4 o'clock this afternoon or evening. Getting a report from one of the emergency officials over in Fayette County that there is a large tree across Highway 70 near Aztec Drive over in Galloway. So not a great situation into Fayette County and the Galloway community, where there does look to be a large tree down near Highway 70 and Aztec Drive. So if your travels do take you into that portion of Fayette County, good idea to give yourself plenty of extra time and probably have a secondary way of getting around there, just because there is a tree down yet again. That is Highway 70 and Aztec Drive over in the Galloway community. Do want to see if we do have any power outages at this point right now, because it's a good idea to check up on that. Definitely do have some around. You do expect that when we do get storms here, really anywhere around the country. About 3,000 customers do not have power right now into Shelby County. Looking into Tipton County, about 500 customers. Fayette County, about 400 customers. To DeSoto County, about 100 customers. Into St. Francis County, about 200 customers. Lee County, we're looking at about 500 customers. And then into Phillips County, about 800 customers here. So all things considered, it's not over the top, but hey, if you lose power, it's not exactly an ideal situation. Excuse me while I take a drink. You know, it's not an ideal situation, obviously, if you lose power, but it's nothing too crazy over the top. I will say it is a good idea to download the WMC First Alert Weather app, shameless plug here, just because, you know, if you do lose power, at least you have the ability to watch our coverage here at Action News 5 when it does come to severe weather. If you do have that app available and on hand here, you will be getting that notification. Hey, we're live with severe weather coverage here across the Mid-South. Since I've been here, as far as just this coverage specifically this time around, going back here, I guess it would have been about 45 minutes ago, I did get a notification to my phone from the First Alert Weather app. I didn't send it out. It might have been meteorologist Patrick Ellis or one of our people that are behind the scenes kind of sending out those push notifications in regard to us seeing some sort of severe weather coverage going here across the Mid-South. So I do appreciate whoever did send that out for sending that out here. To reset, still meteorologist Eric Brill here. Right now it is 10:32. It is the 7th of June here on Saturday across the Mid-South. The AM hours, we're getting closely to turning those over to the PM hours here. Right now, we still do have a severe thunderstorm warning that is in place for the northern portion of Marshall County and the northwestern portion of Benton County. This is set to expire here at 10:45 this morning. And really the biggest reason why I'm still covering this is just because the National Weather Service did note that while this is a severe thunderstorm warning and there hasn't been anything confirmed on the ground, let me be clear about that, they did note that a tornado was possible. And especially into northern Marshall County, man, you guys have had it rough this year as far as Sladen, and I know Grand Junction's not in Marshall County. It is crossing the line into Fayette County. But that was you guys have had some pretty brutal storms, really, not only this year, but just, over the past few decades for that matter of, whether it be severe thunderstorms or tornadoes. So I do want to stick with you guys and ride through this with you because, it doesn't make a difference if you're in Sladen, if you're in Corinth, if you're in Selmer, if you're in Blytheville, if you're over into Helena, West Helena. Hey, we got to keep an eye on everybody here across the Mid-South. But if right now, if you're into DeSoto County or if you're into Shelby County, Crittenden County, even into Tipton County, you don't have a severe thunderstorm warning in place, but you do have a severe thunderstorm watch until 4 o'clock this afternoon. So while right now the weather, we're seeing some showers around, it's nothing over the top. You still do have to keep your guard up here and just kind of, be weather aware really until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. At some point today, Chief Meteorologist Ron Childers will be heading on in to man the ship here across the Mid-South as far as that severe weather coverage goes here. But for the time being right now, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning that is in place for northern Marshall County and into northern Benton County. And that's set to expire here in just a little over 10 minutes. But I really think we're in a pretty good spot right now. As far as that severe weather goes, and even as far as that rotation detector goes, it does not look nearly as impressive as it did a little while ago. So I think I'll probably be turning you guys back over to regular scheduled programming here in the matter of a few minutes because the radar's looking, while it's still raining cats and dogs and it still isn't exactly pleasant out there, the overall big time severe weather looks to be kind of simmering down right now. Putting this on a different radar site here to see if anything unique or interesting kind of pops up here. Doesn't look like it, so I think we're doing pretty good here as far as the Mid-South goes with this specific severe thunderstorm warning here into Marshall County. So with all that said, I'm going to continue to man the radar here at Action News 5, chit-chat back and forth with meteorologist Patrick Ellis as well as with Chief Meteorologist Ron Childers through the progression of the morning and into the afternoon hours. We're going to turn you back over to regular scheduled programming. Trust me when I say, if we get a severe thunderstorm warning and I really think it's about to cause an issue or cause havoc here across the Mid-South, I'm going to jump back in here, and if it's a tornado warning, I'll be back on here too. But I do want to turn you guys back over to regular scheduled programming. Have a safe rest of your morning and afternoon. Don't forget to download the WMC First Alert weather app and continue to stay weather aware because we still do have a severe thunderstorm watch out for the majority of the Mid-South through 4 o'clock this afternoon. Worthwhile to point out too, National Weather Service saying that they're going to allow that warning in Marshall County to expire. So we're in good shape, folks. With that said, I'm meteorologist Eric Brill. Hopefully I won't see you back on here, but I can promise you I am monitoring the radar here at Action News 5.